So we're going to start right off with Dr. Couture. Tora, do daily doses of antioxidants like vitamin E prevent oxidation and possibly extend cell life?
Yeah, I think that's a really important question. Is the role of two parts of that question is, first of all, supplements versus getting them from your diet, and with antioxidants in particular, the research is really out. We don't really know yet how important your dietary antioxidants are and whether supplementation can actually really intervene. Chances are, yes, they can, but the research is now leaning towards like a 30% impact. So when you think about if you take a supplement, and antioxidant supplements are really important for this because most of them are degraded before they get into your blood system. And so they think about the absorption rate is about 5 to 10% for most of the sort of packaged supplements, which means you're paying for 90% and you're getting, for nothing for pretty packaging. So that's one issue, is the dose that you're actually taking is not what you're absorbing. It also depends on your diet. So the supplementation is a problem to measure how much it works. If you're actually eating those foods on their own, that seems to have a hugely greater impact for how much you absorb. But at this point, we just don't know. The research on antioxidants, we know that it works in cell culture. If you take a cell culture and you expose it to all kinds of insults and what we call insults, and then you expose them to antioxidants, they do show reversals in some of that damage. How much it works in our body, we just don't know yet.
And further, what is your opinion of artificial sweeteners, probiotics, and digestive enzymes?
Oh, I have a lot to say about all of those. Okay, I'll start by, artificial sweeteners, I'll start with probiotics. Probiotics we get naturally. They are bacteria. For those of you who don't know, they're microflora or bacteria that naturally grow on foods and that we take in. And they grow in our gut. And and I can talk forever. I love my gut bacteria so much. And I can talk forever about that. But anyways, so our microbes in our gut are responsible for, as Jody was talking about, serotonin. Louise, is that you? Jody. Okay, good. Serotonin, actually 90% of one of the feel-good chemicals that we get in our bodies, 90% of that is produced by bacteria that live in our gut. They make us feel happy. Because if we're happy, then we're eating and then we're feeding them. And that makes them happy. So probiotics are bacteria that live in us. Again, with supplements, when you look at the side of the packaging of a probiotic, it tells you the CFUs, or colony-forming units. And these bacteria have been, a large part, grown in large vats of culture, usually freeze-dried, so flash frozen in minus 80 degrees, and then desiccated for overnight. They're not happy by the time they get to your body. They're not the same that's growing on a piece of cabbage, which is a great source of probiotics. They're not the same that are growing in kombucha. Actually, kombucha tea is something that would be a processed food that's very good. So the probiotics are natural sources of bacteria. And again, eat your food, eat real food. You don't need supplements if you're eating real food. The next part is the artificial sweeteners. So what they've found in the research is that, at least they've looked at sucralose and aspartame, that those tend to feed those microbes that are quote-unquote bad microbes, that microbes have figured out a way to grow off of aspartame and use it as food, even though we don't. It's, again, just a sort of palate stimulant. So it looks like it's not feeding the bacteria that we want. In order to feed the bacteria we want in our guts, it's complex fibers. And fiber feeds the bacteria. It does not feed you. It just feeds your bacteria. So if you're using artificial sweeteners, and what ends up happening is you're growing bacteria, and you're feeding bacteria in your gut that you should be feeding with fiber. That being said, do I like my Diet Coke? Yes. So that, and then the last one. There's three, digestive enzymes.
Thank you.
So the digestive enzymes, it depends on your condition. So certain chronic conditions, digestive enzymes can help. For the vast majority of us, if we take enzymes are proteins. And just as much as if you eat a steak, which is full of protein, you don't turn into a cow. If you eat digestive enzymes, you don't absorb those enzymes. We break those proteins down in our stomach before we ever absorb them. So digestive enzymes can help only if, most importantly, it's pepsin. That's really the only one. Otherwise, they're digested. So pepsin was at one point an additive ingredient in Pepsi, way back in the day, and it was a therapeutic dose. But pepsin is really the only digestive enzyme that you actually is going to help digestion because it works in the acidity of your stomach. Every other protein that you would normally ingest is broken down in your stomach before you'd ever absorb it or you'd ever could use it.
Excellent. Wow. Okay, here's a question for Jody. Are there weight training programs for older seniors available on the coast? And if so, could you describe a few, maybe through the CRD?
I think there are. Well, I know for sure there are people that specialize in working with seniors, and I can't tell you the names off the head, but one of them is here. Sandra has a booth here. The SCRD runs programs. I don't think there's so much weight training as some of the classes do a little bit of lifting in them. There are, we have a resource right up here from the SCRD too. What I would encourage you to do is, if you're interested in something like that, let the people at the SCRD know. And they will often put together a course, and if they get enough people, it's a run. Okay, so if you're interested, probably somebody else is too. And it's a great way to start because you'll find that you're supported with people that are like-minded. And if you do want to seek out private, there are people on the coast that do private too. Try Googling trainers, look up the programs in the SCRD, and try the old-fashioned yellow pages too. I don't know them offhand, but I know there's stuff out there.
Okay, and if I may add, we have Regan Levig here today. Thank you so much for joining us from the recreation programming portion of SCRD. So he has the entire fall curriculum available. And we also have Sandra Buchanan from Suncoast Fit here. So she'll be up at the tables afterwards if you want to look into some of their programs. Okay, Louise, could you please remind us when your workshops are being held and what one needs to do to enroll?
Okay. Well, I have 3 workshops that you can register for today. One of them is starting on September the 8th, and that's at the Sechelt Public Library, and that's a diabetes workshop. It goes for 6 weeks, once a day for 2.5 hours, and the times are all up there. Then I have another 2 workshops starting at the hospital in the boardroom. The dates, I can't remember right off. I think it's October. It's a Saturday, and in the morning is going to be the chronic pain workshop, and then in the afternoon we're going to do a cancer thriving and surviving. And the paperwork is all outside. If you want to register, just go put your name down there. I'll ensure that you get registered, and then you'll receive a confirmation of that registration, and all you have to do is show up.
Excellent. Okay, back to Tora. Why does stress adversely affect telomeres? 1. And second part is, what is the optimal dosage of vitamin C to deal with that sugar-coating skin cell effect?
Okay.
That thing that goes like this.
So stress does a couple of things. Stress is a physiological response to, I might not survive tomorrow because there's a saber-toothed tiger chasing me, and so I'm not going to worry about saving for a rainy day. And that's what your body responds with. And so one of the things that, in response to stress, is what happens is you stop doing the regular housekeeping in your cells because, again, you're not concerned with surviving till 80 if at 40 you're threatened with life-threatening conditions. And so the other part that happens in stress as well is your immune system almost immediately drops, and which is why we get sick when we're stressed. Because again, if we're worried about the saber-toothed tiger, we're not worried about a potential flu that might be hurting us. And that's one of the reasons why stress can cause cancer, because the immune system is really important at cleaning up that diseased cells, those sort of lowering efficiency tissues. And if you have stress and your immune system isn't functioning very well, then you don't have that clearance. And so the stress is just it's supposed to be, in our evolutionary history, a very immediate threat. As soon as that's gone, then we go back to our relaxing lives of hunting and gathering. Of course, in our modern day, stress seems to be pervasive in everything that we do, so it's harder to get away from that. But stress definitely causes aging and certainly causes cancer in a lot of different ways. And telomere shortening is part of that because, again, it's just sort of regular house maintenance, is to increase your cell divisions in response to stress. For vitamin C, I don't know the actual, at this point, the IUDs, the international unit dosage, because it's not known. Right now, they are looking at, it's a stage 2 clinical trial of a vitamin C, a version of vitamin C that looks like to be more, again, absorbable by the skin for wrinkles. And there's also a stage, I want to say it's, I'm going to stay with stage 2, I think, a clinical trial on using vitamin C for diabetes. But again, there are modified vitamin Cs, and it's something you would get over the counter in an orange. So we just don't know that yet. That's still in the works.
Terrific. I'm going to say thank you very much. There are actually piles of questions for some of you, and we'll encourage everyone to have a chat afterwards up above and say thank you very much to our speakers, and we're going to carry on with the draw. So thank you so much today.